Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Real Talk with Dr. Deen. Today I've got a really special video of a quick interview I had with Shaykh Abdul Nasir Jangda about the youth and mosques. So that's the topic for today. I want you to think about your local mosque and think, does it offer any services for the youth? And I'm not talking about just boys but girls as well, which is very rare. Even if there is something for the boys, there's usually nothing for the girls. But generally speaking, all over the country, all over the Western world, there's nothing for the youth in the mosques, and it's a tragedy and an injustice. But I'm going to tell you how and what the mosque can do about that. But just first, let's watch the quick interview with Shaykh Abdul Nasir Jangda, and then we'll have a chat, inshallah. Just one question. Sure. Benefits of a youth project. So Shaykh Abdul Nasir Jangda is going to tell us why it's important that the mosques need to have these youth projects and get the youth active in the masjids. What's the benefit of that?
Real quickly, in 60 seconds, because I got a ride waiting for me. The masjid is the house of Allah. It's the heart of the community. It's where the deen started. It's the first thing the Prophet ﷺ constructed. It's always going to be the center and the nucleus of the community.
And what have you seen when Muslim youth are active in mosque? What benefits have you seen?
But here's the thing, what you got to combine that with is understand that the most active and contributing members of the community of the Prophet ﷺ were youth. The Prophet ﷺ brought those two elements together. He brought the masjid with the youth together. When that happens, you get Medina.
MashaAllah.
So if we want our communities to be like Medina, we want our homes to be like the homes of Rasulullah. We want our sons to be like Abdullah bin Abbas and our daughters to be like Aisha. We got to get our youth in the masjid.
Okay, and one more thing, support the work of Dr. Deen.
Dr. Deen. Hook it up, inshallah.
That's enough. See you soon. So the Prophet ﷺ's way is to have the youth in the masjid, even living in the masjid all the time with open doors. Today we have mosques that don't welcome the youth. When they go there, they're frowned upon, they're given dirty looks, or they're just not welcome. Or even if they go, there's nothing to do there. A lot of mosques even have security cameras, and you have a sense of fear rather than a sense of peace and ease. And this is in the Quran as well, about people that create fear for people to go in the house of Allah in the mosques. So there shouldn't be fear, there should be love and comfort. So how do you do that? How do you get youth in the mosques? First thing is to provide an area, special space for them where they can hang out. So one of the empty rooms, something upstairs, something at the back of the building, something nobody uses, and set up a sofa there, set up a chill room, just a comfortable place for them to be. But that won't happen unless we leave the youth alone, i.e. don't judge them. Let them come in any state that they're in, i.e. they're practicing or not practicing, however, reasonably dressed, but let them come in and feel comfortable being there. If you don't have a budget right now, and there should be, because most mosques have a lot of money. Reason is they get weekly collections, plus they make money from annual donations throughout the year, and Ramadan and madrasas and things like that. A lot of mosques have a lot of funds. Not all mosques, but the majority, if you look on the Charities Commission website, they have a lot of excess funds. But none of that is going to the youth. It's just unbelievable. But what you can do is set up a small budget, even if you can't afford a full-time youth worker, to hire a part-time youth worker. Or even if you can't do that, or you're not willing to, you don't understand the urgency of it, then at least set up a budget for weekly youth club. So setting up a budget is really key. Just like I always say, if you've got a budget for changing the tiles in the wudu area, you've got a huge budget for changing the carpets. It's always seems to be physical things that are changing. The carpets, the tiles, the chandeliers, the lights. And I've noticed, because I've had a lot of dealing with mosque committees, there's no hesitancy when it comes to budgets for repair work and building work. And this is one of the alamat as-sa'a, the signs of the Day of Judgment, that mosques will be beautiful and beautified, and the hearts will be empty. People inside won't actually know their deen the way they're meant to. And today we're in that state where mosque committees discuss buildings, physical buildings, but not the people that are meant to be attending it. And where are we right now? The state we're in right now is that the youth don't go to mosque, and the next generation will not go at all. except for the few practicing youth. Other than that, nobody will go to the mosque. And that's the tragedy. And I don't know why people can't see that. They can't see that already the youth are not going. And what's going to happen in the next generation? And the one after that, there will be no one in the mosques. And eventually we'll end up like the Jews and Christians, where these buildings will be sold off to the highest bidder. I know people can't see that, but I can from the youth work that I do, that there is not enough engagement. So a youth club, another one is creating a study area. So when it's time for them to study, GCSEs, A-levels, exams, uni exams, let them just come and open their books and study. That doesn't cost any money. It's just about opening your heart, not your pocket. Let the youth come and study in the mosque. It's a really simple thing to do. It's not rocket science. I don't know why people don't want the youth to come. And you know, a lot of sincere imams have asked me, how do I get the youth in? They don't come. I said, just open the doors for them, i.e. let them in and be comfortable, and let them just sit and study. You know, and then there's another thing. Everything nowadays is on the internet. Everything. So if you're going to say, and I've seen this. I've seen a youth on the phone and they get shouted at and told off and get out the mosque. You can't use the internet in the mosque. But you're not going to be able to do your work without the internet. So that's a debate that has to be had with the imams and scholars and things. But you're not going to be able to work without the internet nowadays. You know, so you have to have that discussion on how you can allow that and how to not allow, you know, the wrong kind of content in the mosque. So give the youth a space to hang out or study or a youth club, or just generally give them a voice. Add them, you know, this is something really strange. We don't have a lot. And I'll be honest with you, what I've seen. People allow the youth into the mosque. I'm talking about the older youth, I mean young men who are professionals. They sometimes allow them into the committee. And I've seen this time and time again, where after a while, they get sacked. They get rid of the youth because the youth have new ideas, innovative ideas, according to them, radical changes in the masjid, i.e. they really want to serve the community. The elders are stuck in their ways. They don't want to leave the mosque until they die, literally. They're on the committee members, trustees, until they die. They don't want to give up power, because we're power hungry. And then the youth that do want to help, they give up in the end. So they join a committee as youth, they win a mosque election or they get selected. They try their best, but they can't make change, and then they get fed up and leave. I've seen this time and time again. So, and somebody else told me a really sad story about how in one of the mosques, the committee was discussing in Urdu, kafan, i.e. burials, and how much money to spend and budgeting about burials. And I'm thinking, you're more worried about the dead than the living. You're more worried about the dead elderly in their graves than the youth and the kids that are meant to be coming to the mosque and benefiting from it. But that was a really baseline youth service I was talking about. But ultimately, you should have facilities for them to study, to learn spiritual knowledge, the Islamic knowledge, worldly knowledge, media, mental health courses, parenting courses for young parents. There should be every kind of facility in the mosque. It should be the one-stop shop for everything. So really, there's no excuse, and there is an accountability on the Day of Judgment. We have a youth crisis, the youth crying out for help. They're leaving Islam, they're leaving their faith, they're leaving their families, becoming individualized, no community, and that's all down to the mosque. Now, it's not all the mosque's fault. Of course, parents are to blame, but the part that mosque has to play, must play. And that starts now. So really, if you're part of a masjid committee, I would say fear Allah in what you're doing and open up the doors. You don't have a choice. There's no choice here. You have to do it. So if you're thinking it's nice to have, it's not. It's essential. I'm sorry to be like that, but that's the truth. So be like the Prophet ﷺ in his mosque, where the youth loved coming to the masjid. They were studying there. Ashab al-Sufa were studying there. The young people were there. And they literally spent days there. Days, hours, all day in the Prophet's mosque. And that's what we need. We need our youth back in the mosques. Open up your doors, please. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, Real Talk is here to discuss those real issues. Subscribe, share, let everybody know. Assalamu alaikum.